good with the people? I am Damo, the political plug. This is the Chop Up Show. I'm here with one of my favorite people in the world, Toya G. What's going on,
Hello.
Toya?
What's good, bro? Another Thursday. It's getting heavy out here, man. I think buddy promised a first week, first 100 days to first 7 days to remember,
Mm-hmm.
and man, I can't
We're there.
turn on my phone without a new piece of crazy ass breaking news. But hey,
Hey, shout out to another one of my favorite people. My nigga Tyler said, on my soul, I needed this chop. Man, and we needed to talk to y'all. We really
yeah,
needed to talk to y'all. Shout out to Miss Man. Shout out to Emmanuel
yeah.
Briggs. Shout out to Peaches.
What
Uh,
up?
there's a lot of important conversation to have. A lot of important conversation to have. Some non-important conversation to have, but has important a lesson from it. I guess we could say.
Yeah,
Uh, but we definitely got to get into all of these executive orders. Trump's first couple days, the impact that that's having on the legacy of civil rights, and all of that, all
mhm.
of that. But of course, we got to get y'all into that conversation by first getting in on some other shit that has to be kind of pointed out and identified. You know what I'm saying? So Toya, go ahead and get it started with our first chop of this evening, and break it down. What we talking about?
All right, we're not gonna waste no time. You go ahead and put up the image at hand because we want to be able to really get into the nitty gritty of all the stuff we want to talk about tonight. But if you are a user of the media's, if you use social media, right, the media's of the social, you have at some point seen a meme of Dr. Martin Luther King. I believe this was before AI, right? And not memes of him, in great, wonderful places doing great, wonderful things, but like club invitations,
Yeah,
memes of him, with,
this is
they
the
did Barack
Photoshop
Obama.
era. It's the Photoshop
Right,
era.
exactly. The Photoshop
Yeah,
era. Barack Obama had like, a part haircut and they did MLK one. And, put, of course, like I said, the club flyers, a bunch of different unique positionalities of this civil rights icon. And so this is not necessarily new. And people have made murmurs about it. And of course, in that world of it existing on the internet, we know that Dr. Bernice King has also seen some of these same posts. But very recently, Sexyy Red took it upon herself to post one of those images, right? And it was an image of her in the club, Dr. Martin Luther King. They are face to face, about an inch apart. The look that they're giving, I don't want to reach and say it's suggestive, but it's unfortunate. It's just
it's
all
like
very
it's
peculiar and
suggestive.
weird.
It's
It's
suggestive.
all very peculiar and weird. And
Yeah.
so the picture is floating around social media. People are like, oh my goodness, oh my gosh. And of course, Bernice King sees it. Her response, which actually, with the way that the images are, I can't read. So go ahead and read the response that Miss Bernice King dropped.
It says this is intentionally distasteful, dishonoring, deplorable, and disrespectful to my family and my father, who is not here to respond himself because he was assassinated for working for your civil and human rights and to end war and poverty. Please delete.
Okay. So said what she said. I think she said it fairly non-antagonistically. She didn't attempt to demean Shorty. One of the things she continued to write about in some of her posts following that response was that she wasn't about to sit up here and tear her down for being this or that or a degenerate or whatever that people want to kind of press on her, because she truly believes that the rights that she deserves are the rights everybody else deserves. She deserves to be dignified. She's a person too. And so she wasn't about to sit up here and eat Shorty up, but really wanted to, in a way that an old black woman will, let you know why you're
Get you
being
right.
let know.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
get you
saying?
right.
Just get you together real quick.
Yeah.
And so we see the Sexyy Red response. Can you read the response that Sexy posted that a lot of people were very proud of, very surprised by, to be completely honest? What was her response?
Sexy Ray's response was, "You ain't wrong. Never meant to disrespect your family. My apologies. Just reposted something I saw that I thought was innocent."
In the post, right? Now, I agree with a lot of other people who loved it. You know what I'm saying? I thought the response was direct, it was concise, it was swift. It also accompanied the deletion of the post. My bad. I thought it did something. I thought it was doing something it didn't do. Didn't mean to cause no harm. I'm out of your way. right? And so, in the face of that, right, her admitting fault, admitting guilt, providing a corrective action, not defending anything that she did, would you believe that Sexyy Red had people defending her? They
I
was
would believe
defending
it.
something
I would
that
believe
wasn't
it.
there. You would believe it.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025 America, you've got to believe that people said in them comments under the post where they're going back and forth and having this very poetically polite interaction between generations, intergenerational Black women, just really making some things clear about the standards that we have for our heroes and our icons.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment. And people was like, you don't owe her no apology. You don't have to apologize. I might care that she got disrespected. It's so many different people who are just like, there's not a reason to apologize. Not Sexy, you cool. It's the internet. Why do people take everything so serious? I mean, definitely calling this lady the B word, just like any level of wild ass response you can think of. And it's like you don't want to be that person, because I think people in general are terrible, but I also am just like, when did you graduate from high school? Like, I immediately want to know.
Yeah. I mean, because they say a lot.
The biographical of a lot of them people posting that shit, because I really feel like it comes from a particular group of people who really are in it for the shock value and in it for, well, I guess I don't want to, before I speculate, what is your explanation? Man, because I mean, she been cool. She been keeping it cute. She ain't been, people been posting the party flyers forever, whatever. Sexyy Red does it. I believe that her specifically being a celebrity and amplifying the bullshit really was the last straw. I guess my question to you is, how did people get so brazen? Why? Because I don't feel like, I feel like the party flyers was like, you wildin'.
Yeah, that's wild. I feel like that's how niggas like accurately responded to that. That shit was shock value. Check this out.
And so no, but I'm saying you with that, it's like people are already like, that's crazy. Yeah. For you to take it a step forward.
For y'all to bring this animosity, right? For y'all to bring this animosity into the comments, into the replies, all of that. When those two had a amicable, you know what I'm saying, exchange, and then it's niggas that's commenting and adding to it to get messy. This is why, Toya. And like, even though this is like about Sexyy Red and kind of like some celebrity shit, this ties into the theme of the conversation. It's just that there is a complete disrespect for the legacy of Black people in America and Black history in America. Yeah. And like who Bernice King is. Like, she lost her father because he was fighting for shit that, like, literally the luxuries that we get to fucking benefit. So when people like, oh, why people gotta take shit so serious, she take her father fucking legacy serious. Just because y'all have no problem saying stupid shit all over the internet, like like thinking no thought about the future. Just like I did when I first got on Facebook. I hate my old Facebook posts. I hate memories because it showed me how young and stupid I was. You feel me? But what we seeing, like the response to a Bernice King is like literally the response to the legacy of civil rights, the legacy of fighting against injustice, the legacy of fighting for equal treatment, equitable, you know what I'm saying, environments, to be able to like literally do the shit that we do today. Like, she is the offspring of that legacy. She had to sacrifice her father in order for that shit to benefit us the way that it do today. And so what we are seeing is a complete disconnect between like the legacy that we used to value, that we used to revere, like when we was learning Black history facts and how important it was to know that, and who Dr. King was, you know what I'm saying, like for Black people, even with the criticism and everything else. Even because I know it's some super woke nigga out there that's like, but you know he was on some, and you know Dr. King, and this is where he, like, even with all that
please believe, you know he was a misogynist, you know he was out here having sex with white women, which y'all realize, one, because I'm kind of confused on the history of this, but if I'm not mistaken, it's been disputed as one of those FBI, CIA fucking propaganda lies that is peddled and pushed about him to make it justifiable, the propaganda that made him justifiable to be a target in the first place, right? So a lot of people are regurgitating things that they've heard, but they never watched the documentary, ain't never really sat and calculated and got the actual proof that is the legacy of that man's story. And then we also start to have a conversation about the standards that we have in today's society about whose bullshit we willing to accept. Facts. And at what cost and at what expense, because your fave is on some bullshit.
All the way.
Your favorite fucked up shit.
All the way.
And you steal it, eat it up. They sell it, you buy it. They play it, you listen. They create
all day.
But you can't. This man who got up there and literally put his body on the line, literally went to jail, literally was killed. He didn't give his life. A lot of people say he gave his life. He did not give his life. Somebody took it. They took that shit.
They took it. They took it.
And you just like, oh, but what about? Right, yeah. But your fave is already married to a white woman and dating, got children with him and doing whatever, but he was different and special and whatever. And I understand we holding people to a higher standard, but actually in this society, no, we're not. And we'll talk more about that later. But come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's not go with the low hanging fruit and let's not try to justify this. From my perspective, I feel like shit like this. I'm sitting with this. Like, where is the root of this? Like, how do people become so brazen? And I really feel like the root of some of this is in an overcorrection on respectability. Now, don't get me twisted.
Yeah,
I'm not defending respectability. I do have respectability. I'll also also say that in the third breath.
Yeah.
Right. I recognize in my older age, at my 36, that there are some things that I'm just completely disinterested in because all that shit is uncalled for.
Right.
So, i.e., a sexy red. It's just not. I'm not the audience. That being said, right? I really feel like in an attempt to like overcorrect for the sanitized, mild mannered, quiet, and we've always been pushers of the culture. We've also been people who are critically inclined to kind of fight back against power and do all that shit. But I really feel like somewhere niggas just got really lost in the sauce of what it means to like not be respectable, not toe the line, not walk in tradition, to not like, and it's complicated because I do think it's a case by case scenario, plucking through what we giving and what we taking. But this is one of those things where to me it's just kind of cut and dry. To the long.
That's what I'm saying. Like even and I'll say this, and really I ain't really even got too much more because it's like this should have been like, yo, good shit, Sexyy Red. You didn't get defensive. You didn't feel like you needed to protect, you know what I'm saying? The fact that she didn't think she needed to disrespect this woman and could see where she was coming from. And they had they had a great exchange and understanding each other and going about their ways. But it's like niggas on social media are the ones who want to stir up shit between Sexyy Red and fucking Bernice King.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? Okay, real quick, want to shout out in the comments. I think I see my dog Zay up in here. Shout out to the OTG podcast. Make sure y'all are, if y'all looking for something else to listen to, some other great folks having meaningful conversations and really talking about an array of different topics in terms of real life, but also entertainment, media, and stuff like that. Check out the OTG pod with Zay. We already shouted out Miss Ma'am and Emmanuel. They've been kind of going back and forth for sure. Miss Ma'am said if they didn't have beef, why is it necessary to be mad about them not having beef? That's the great and ultimate question that we both have, definitely. Emmanuel said, can we just cancel our subscription in 2024, 25, and forward to 28?
It's already wild.
But I ain't gonna lie, until 28 is unraveling before our very eyes. We'll get there in a moment.
And we 3 weeks into this motherfucker.
Miss Ma'am said, let someone get to talking about they ashy ankle granny. They be ready for war out here acting like they don't understand. And that's what I'm saying. Even outside of him being Dr. King, he's still somebody's father. That's still somebody's brother. That's still somebody's pastor. That's still, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be weird. You feel me? Like, that's somebody. So the way that you're talking about them and the legacy that they left and the life that they live got to be worth something. Like, damn, it make you really wonder, like, what am I chopped liver? Like, goodness. Yeah. Jaleesa, my sis, good evening. What's good? What's popping with you? So glad you in here and glad that you caught us in the nick of time. We on time and on schedule Thursday night, and so I'm glad that you decided to pop in. And yeah, OTG, big love to you. Big love to you. But here's what I'm gonna say, and we're gonna close it out and move on. I worry for this, and this makes me think about you and your post. You talking about your old Facebook post, and I've always told you are an antagonist, right? The plug is the ultimate contrarian, or at least he used to be before he kind of outgrew some of those tendencies, or I think refined them. I won't say outgrew.
Refined,
refined, right? Pick moments, pick times, ask meaningful questions with the contrarianism, and the rest of the silly shit, unless it's a silly moment,
right,
is able to kind of let pass for the greater kind of notion of what needs to be contributed to the moment. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these folks don't got that. There's no metric or barometer. You check any comment section. You know what I'm saying? And I get why people
out of pocket.
Maybe it's just Twitter, but it's a lot of places. There's even contrarians and shady people in comment sections on TikTok, right? That's not just a safe haven. the social media usage that we have is automatically people just thinking of what I can say against, what I can
Yeah.
say to tear down, what I can say to, to dissent.
Be on
What
some
like it's
fucked
just
up
it's
shit.
just normative. Like and
Yeah.
tick and press in, and that just will never forever blow my mind. The last thing I think contribute to this in society, this is not a generational thing specifically, but I think there is uniqueness about this generation. Dark humor is a part of how we laugh. It is why we have these conversations about controversial comedians. It is why we forward, you know what I'm saying, discussions about how what's too far and whatever. It keeps society, cultural conversations, critique vibrant, right? It's the ability to say some really wild shit and frame it in the context of humor or a joke. It is the beauty and the complexity of the human mind. That being said, I think these new niggas got too many overly deep investments in dark humor, overly deep investments in like weird, just problematic, like ick shit,
And overinvestment in
and
the counterculture. And
or just
overinvestment in the,
yes,
yeah.
and just being counter and just being
Yeah.
opposite. And you know what? I sound old saying this, so I'm gonna wrap it up because I get that I sound my age.
What you sound like, yeah.
I feel like something unique is in every generation before me did too, but I feel like it's something unique about these ones. It's
Nah,
like,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, because I think, and this kind of transition us into our the next part of the conversation, because again, it's like what we seeing overcorrection. I think that's a great way to frame talking about how we ended up with Donald Trump for a second fucking time. And before this nigga got a week in office, he already doing all the shit that niggas said niggas was fear mongering about.
If you rocking with us, hit that thumb real quick.
So, to be clear, Donald Trump got in office a couple days ago. And, I mean, what was it? 26 executive orders? You know what I'm saying? Niggas just start rattling them off. And wide ranging. But if you look at anybody we was talking about the Project 2025 playbook, it was pretty much the Project 2025 playbook. It was pretty much.
Have you seen the clip where it was like apparently he was supposed to be signing the Martin Luther King Jr. piece of legislation to, I don't know what it was for, I forget it, but it was a piece of King legislation. And like as the cameras was watching him and he signed all of them on camera, they quickly cut away before he actually signed that mug. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
I'm gonna go ahead, keep talking.
So 26 executive orders, and really some of the most significant ones, of course, impact black people. Now, before we start talking about the executive orders specifically, let's remember what the conversation was about going into the election. Donald Trump versus Joe Biden and Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. We had got to a point where niggas was ringing the alarm. Donald Trump is attached to these particular groups, and these particular groups want a certain set of policies that are counterproductive for people that look like us, for women, for poor people, right? I mean, and it was all of it was just bunched up under Project 2025. But for the most part, most people recognize that the people that were surrounding themselves around Donald Trump in his second iteration, after everybody else, that nobody else really made it out of that second, except Mike Pence, made it out of that first term like that. So he had to get a whole new set of niggas, but a set of more radical niggas, a set of more, like a more, even closer white nationalist adjacent niggas.
More white nationalists, yes, man.
More white nationalists, yes, man. Right. And niggas is sitting around saying, like, it's not a question of whether or not we think Donald Trump is racist personally. It's a question of the types of policies that Donald Trump would think he would want to encourage or sign off on, specifically with the people that's around him. There are no people who are thinking about the implications of poverty, who are thinking about the implications of race and racial discrimination and bodily autonomy. Those people ain't around that nigga. Their priority is the motherfuckers who already got the bread. Everybody that's already paid. This was the points that were made. It was not about whether or not Donald Trump himself was specifically racist, but would he be the type of politician who would enforce policy that had racist implications?
Check this out. let me blow your mind real quick. Tyler said it's because he doesn't have to worry about re-election this time, so he really kind of going
Exactly.
hard. But here's the thing: there's a Tennessee lawmaker who has, as of today, uh, pulled up or made a motion for Donald Trump to be able to run for a third term. He's literally picking apart the language in the Constitution that talks about whether or not he can have consecutive terms. And it's saying that he should be able to have another term out of this one after this one because the 2 terms that he's had have not been consecutive. And so if y'all don't think I'm gonna also give you another one. And I needed to Google this for myself to double check. But if you Google US presidents, it'll show you starting at this time, from this time, starting at this time, from this time. He'll say 2025 with a dash next to it and no date for it to end. And that was a Google kind of search screenshot that I saw that got put on my radar a little bit earlier. There's also, I think, on the White House, on Instagram. If you look at JD Vance's Instagram, I think the shit just says like everybody else's former VP accounts said like VP and then a certain time period. His just say VP for like ever. Like it said VP, so, like it's just like weird, like really small breadcrumbs of very ominous messaging that they don't plan on getting out of office at all anytime soon. Didn't mean to deviate from the XOs. Just wanted to make sure I put the idea of relief or the lack thereof on the table because it's a lot of nefarious people doing a lot of nefarious things.
Yo, I mean, it's so. But here's the thing for you. This is where I always said that the election was going to be a win-win, even if Kamala Harris lost. The reason why it's going to be a win-win, even with a Donald Trump win, is because if the niggas that was riding for Donald Trump, if the Kanye Wests of the world and, you know what I'm saying, all the other free-thinking black conservative niggas, the Candace Owens, if y'all right and like Donald Trump is good for black people, we benefit. Right? Like investing in Donald Trump failing, you know what I'm saying, at any type of, black, pro-black or just diversity initiative, period. Like that, that don't make sense, right? I would want for him to go into office and do things that are beneficial and productive for black people.
Yeah.
But if y'all are wrong, that is a dub. Because all of this shit that y'all tried to make a big deal, we're all about to see it wasn't a fucking big deal. All of the overcorrecting of fucking with Democrats that niggas went through, we don't fuck with Democrats to the point where, yeah, I'll support Donald Trump just because I don't fuck with Joe Biden in that particular way. That will be exposed for being complete and utter bullshit.
I mean, but you know what really scares me though, or what really concerns me, what I've been looking at is the fact that, like, there's a victory lap to be had, but there's so many. I don't know. Keep going. I don't know.
I understand what you're getting at, right? Because even though this victory lap that I'm on right now, is an L. It's an L for civil rights, as we about to see in other shit. But it's at least now we know y'all were wrong. You black Trump supporters told lies. Y'all said Donald Trump was not a racist. He's been in office 2 days, and the only thing that he's dismantled is civil rights shit.
Yeah.
His main focus, outside of immigration, we're going to talk about immigration, but his main focus is it's dismantling civil rights era federal policy.
We also got to make sure we talk to our brown counterparts. You know what I'm saying? Because what he do, he took down the Spanish. He took down all types of Latino shit off that website. Like you go to it and get the 404 messaging. I think there were like Spanish translations on the website no longer exist. Like specific organizations committed to Latin American, like I think all of that stuff has been dissolved.
It's gone.
It's gone.
There is niggas ain't even recognizing when they talking about an attack on diversity, they're attacking y'all, non-whites. An attack, when you're attacking diversity, you're attacking non-whites. And this is coming from white people and white nationalists. And niggas been saying that. And y'all talking about we're race baiters? Look at his fucking executive orders. Look at what he's caring about the most. He ain't passed nothing about capping no grocery prices. He ain't passed nothing about talking about no gas. He ain't talking about putting no more money in nobody's pockets. The first thing he did when he got in office is attack civil rights. Go ahead, Toya. Let's get through some of these.
Civil rights too, but that, and then he made sure to take some time to deprioritize, to take us out of the Paris Climate Agreement. I want to make sure y'all know that we also are potentially imminently about to go into a major economic conflict with Canada, because Canada is like, y'all take these, y'all do the 25% tariffs if y'all want to. We taking y'all power. Literally, Canada gives power to New York, to Michigan, and to one of those other northeastern states, and they saying that they about to just cut that shit on off, and y'all can just do what you want to do in the dark and figure it out. They're also threatening to take all American liquor off the shelves in the country of Canada, which means that a huge portion of probably money and economic uplift we get from those types of items, done. They're going to be locally sourced, locally doing everything. They really about to show just how independent they can be. And before I turn you loose, let's not forget that they have withdrawn from the WHO?
The World Health Organization.
Yeah, we are... they've been defunding all types of research and shit. Cancer research, diabetes. Of course, we know the diabetes medicine went back up from $35 to $1 billion.
Joe Biden capped insulin costs, and one of the first things Donald Trump did was make it to where they can charge as much as they want for fucking insulin.
My lord.
The swamp has been released and set free.
Taking away things and giving nothing.
Ain't nothing.
Taking away things and giving nothing.
No, so here's something important I want to point out to you, and I want to see if you pick up on this on this as well. Because what I try to explain to niggas all election is that focusing on immigration is cool, but as soon as they start fucking up with the rights of Latino people, it's gonna happen to niggas at the same time. Anytime they get in anybody else fucking right, so focus on any other group, niggas get focused on as well. That's not saying that our struggles are the same. It's just for whatever reason, every time the U.S. empire want to kick a motherfucker, they be like, we might as well give niggas a kick while we at it. Here's a perfect example. You had a lot of niggas talking about immigration during this past election. Now, some of his first executive orders was what? Declare an emergency at the Mexico border, right? That allows him to utilize all type of militaristic resources down in those areas in order to quote unquote monitor it, in order to police it, right? So now we about to have the goddamn military policing the border. All right. It includes things like suspend U.S. refugee admissions and resettlements. So that's people who are in the process of getting coming over here as a refugee and being settled here in the United States. They just said we're just gonna put a hold on that. Right, understanding refugee is a humanitarian effort, right? That people that civilized nations around the world do in order to help other countries. But okay, cool. So Donald Trump don't give a fuck about refugees.
Some shit you just do for the greater good. And shout out to K Rhodes in the comments. A new, I feel like, name and face, somebody up in the mix too, talking about how the taking away the insulin hurts black people the most. So definitely, but keep going. My bad. I just want to acknowledge somebody.
No. Definitely. Trump trying to end birthright citizenship. Now, an update on this is that was a judge in it was a judge pretty much put a stop to this, put a hold on this right now. So now this actual executive order is caught up in will be caught up in a legal battle, but pretty much he pretty much ordered agencies not to recognize babies as citizens if their mothers were unlawfully present, so here illegally, at the time of birth and their father was not a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. So babies that was born here that would
that was suited. It was gonna be like, my bad. It was gonna be 26 other states that was about to sue his ass over this shit too. So it was gonna be a legal battle over this,
right? Period. Right. I think this is one of the more uphill battle joints that wasn't gonna be as easy. Right. So as you can see, of course, all this shit y'all was talking about immigrants. He's getting on these immigrants' ass, but what is he doing at the same time he's getting on the immigrants' ass? And when I say, let me stop saying immigrants because I'm using the same racial language that these motherfuckers use. Latino people from south of the border, right? Y'all wanted them to get on his ass for black jobs, right? For black jobs. But at the same time, of course, this nigga is doing a direct attack on the civil rights legacy in the United motherfucking States.
Yeah.
As a part of his crusade against what the GOP decries woke culture, ordered the dismantling of government diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within 60 days. It eliminates policies that establish several diversity initiatives, Emily Peck reports, including one that widens sex discrimination protections to include sexual orientation and gender identity. And Tuesday, Trump specifically directed the Federal Aviation Administration to immediately return to non-discriminatory, merit-based hiring as required by law, and rescind DEI initiatives. Now, before we get into the other shit he did, so pretty much any DEI program, any DEI office, any DEI role, and when we say DEI roles, we're talking about roles associated with ensuring that government workplaces are operating equitably, fairly, and inclusively in a way, right, where all employees feel welcome, they feel like they can grow, they feel like they are part of the team, organizational support, and all of that, right? Because that's what DEI is. Because let me be clear, I've had this conversation with multiple niggas, and let me know if you've heard this as well, Toya. For some reason, y'all didn't let white people think y'all didn't let white people make y'all think that DEI hire means a meritless hire, that you only got the role because you were black. Most people operate under the assumption that DEI literally only means we got 5 white people. Our quota is for every 5 white people, we hire 1 black person, and that's DEI. That is not fucking DEI.
So let me get my numbers up. I'm gonna hire the first person that walks in the door.
That's not how that shit works. Because I don't know whether or not you heard this as well, but growing up, I could have swore motherfuckers was like, black people, we got to work twice as hard to get the same jobs.
10 times.
We got to be twice as good to get the same jobs. But because there were institutional
room to be in that number.
So because there were institutional barriers, things like the Civil Rights Act and shit like that was passed to combat institutional barriers. You introduce a DEI office or a DEI manager in order to make sure that certain barriers that are based in bias, that are based in shit that's not for the organization, you don't got to deal with. That's the purpose of this shit. But niggas is running around really just believing that it just means you just get hired because you a woman. You just got hired because you gay. You just got hired because you black. That's not fucking DEI. Not even fucking close. As a practitioner yourself, Toya, is that not one of the things that we say is actually why DEI efforts fail?
What specifically? I'm sorry, I'm really going through it right now. Ask the question again. I'm gonna tell you why I'm going through it. Because
why you going through it?
Messaged me and said that Donald Trump. Because you're talking about this DEI shit, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, DEI is eliminated. These initiatives are eliminated. Workplaces no longer have an incentive to protect, right? Mm-hmm. They no longer have anything to benefit or gain. However, there's still the notions of civil rights that are actively being stripped and taken away now that will allow for them to still be held legally liable if they do some wild shit and get out of pocket. So they're not incentivized to create more friendly environments, but if they violate, they can still be, litigated against. Donald Trump did you not tell me that he suspended the civil rights?
Getting to that, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
all of it is just too overwhelming. And I'm gonna tell you another sidebar overwhelming moment that I had when we were talking about immigration. Right, 308 individuals who were all said to have criminal records were arrested and taken in during the sweep that they did Tuesday, Wednesday. With those 308 people, they made it very clear that if you were associated with anybody that ICE picks up, it does not matter if you don't have a criminal record. It doesn't matter if you were obviously undocumented. If you are just a person that's a passerby, standby, and you are there, a bystander, you are going to jail. This has led to these threats of ICE raids have led to people not working, right? Individuals not showing up to work the fields, to collect the food, to do the harvesting, to do all the important
which is
farming
going to
and
cause the
agriculture.
price of goods to go
The
fucking
price of
up.
food is about to go up, bro. Like I just
because
was
of ICE. Because of ICE.
And so I was trying to answer your question. I was trying to be present, but I just got very sad because I kept thinking about all of the very real, cemented in bullshit realities that we're existing in. Like,
that we about to deal with right now. Yeah.
Right. These are not suggestions. These are not like he's thinking about. This is stuff
it's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
I'm sorry.
But what I had said was the idea that DEI is literally about quotas is what we teach is a failure in understanding the DEI and why most DEI efforts fail. If your focus is just literally having a particular number, you're not even gonna be able to maintain that number because you can't develop the culture that's gonna want to keep somebody like that there in the first place, right? That's gonna want to keep a diverse 100%. Workplace. So I'm gonna die. I'll die on that hill. Like I'll proudly be the nigga that's like fuck that. Y'all have no idea what y'all talking about when it comes to DEI. And anybody that says DEI is meritless hiring or meritless selection, then you're buying into white nationalist propaganda that has taught you now to hate anti-discrimination efforts. The people who want to discriminate against you are teaching or literally teaching you to hate anti-discrimination efforts. In that context, Donald Trump ordered all executive departments and agencies to terminate what he called discriminatory and legal preferences. In doing so, he revoked a civil rights era federal order. A civil rights era, some shit Lyndon B. Johnson did to ensure that black. You said what?
1965? I was just dating it. Sorry.
1965. Yes. 1965. This is after the Civil Rights Act was passed. But he passed more legislation to ensure that they challenged all the type of internal discrimination that was even existing in federal workplaces. And Toya, guess who's one of the largest employer of black people in the United States?
The United States federal government?
The United States fucking federal government.
Oh, I was honestly a guess, but yeah.
The United States federal government. So when he's literally removing restrictions that were put in place to prevent discrimination, in one of the largest employers of black people in the country, what type of I ain't even gonna ask the question. We know the type of impact that's gonna have on black folk. Bro. We know.
Not to mention, I mean, oh my God.
No, go ahead. Take a breath.
By the way, I'm here with these little factoids because I think I'm really here. My job today is to twist the knife because it's in there and it's in there deep. And every time you say some shit, I'm like, but also, did you know? Because you also know that he passed, I don't know what you would call it, but he is making all the individuals who work from home return back to the office.
Come back to the office, yeah.
Right. So federal employees can no longer work from home. Right. So I'm thinking about the economic plight of black people. I'm also thinking about the double down of the economic plight against black people who work from home or who now have to come into the office and be subject to violations of their civil rights, if not fired completely because of their perception of being a DEI hire. By the way, I saw a post that said that there's some Trump mandate that argues that if there's a federal employee, I don't know if it's a federal employee or employee in general, who is suspected to be a DEI hire, it is the responsibility of colleagues to whistleblow, to snitch, to tell if they feel like this individual is a DEI hire. Or
how the fuck do you determine that?
That they want people to deputize themselves. They want white supremacists and people who fall into their logic to deputize themselves as the police, as the hall monitor, as the snitch. They really want people to work, and they're gonna do it because they do that without invitation. I'm sure y'all saw the black man video floating around on social media. He in his own neighborhood. Classic story of a nigga being where they.
You don't live here.
And a white woman with her kids talking about, where do you live? He's right here. I don't believe you. Then push the car, the child, the wagon, the buggy that the child be in, the stroller. ran with the baby, ran all the help, scream bloody murder for this man. And he's a real estate aficionado, if not mogul, had every right to be in his neighborhood. So they do the police and shit without being asked.
I mean, and that's the thing, Toya. We're now creating a culture of deputizing these motherfuckers in all other different capacities. Because also in Mississippi, right? So what you talk about, you see how they always deputize when they think niggas is criminals. The anti-DEI shit deputizes them to think to be able to determine who deserves to have what fucking job. And then in Mississippi, they introduced a bill to put bounties on migrants, on undocumented migrants, bounties on them. To where you can get paid up to $1,000 a head.
I want to fix my drug issue that you won't resolve because opioid epidemic is still very prevalent in this country. And so to pay for those drugs that I'm addicted to because you have no systemic or structural approach to dealing with fucking anything health related in this country, I'm gonna go out and spend all my time high as shit on some of the worst cut drugs out there in the market in the middle of the fucking country because that's where I'm at. And then I'm gonna go surveil brown people and try to figure out and pick which one ain't supposed to be here. And because I need some money. I need some money for my next score because I have a drug. Like, do you see the ensemble of the ways and shit?
Yeah, like they're deputizing meth heads to go down to the border and round up Mexicans. That's essentially what's happening. Now those are the executive orders, right? The specifically as it impact black people, because remember, niggas tried to tell us that Donald Trump wasn't racist and he really fucked with black people like that. All right, so got rid of any DEI programs, got rid of civil rights era protections, like again, literally undermining the institutional protections against discrimination is what he's doing, and there's no way that anybody can have any conversation where you explain it any way otherwise. There is no economic benefit. There is no organizational benefit. It's literally cultural. That's the only reason they're getting rid of this shit, right? But then this what happened. That was all the other day, yesterday and shit. Today, Trump administration, Justice Department orders a halt to civil rights work. They literally have suspended the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, people. They're literally saying, any cases that y'all working on, stop. We are not, okay, let me make this clear. The Justice Department is saying they are not taking on any new civil rights cases. It's suspended.
And I texted the plug back and was like, let me guess, indefinitely. He was like, it didn't specify a time. I'm gonna go ahead and infer.
I mean, because it said until further notice. It was just like until we say otherwise. Now, this is why this is important, though, right? This is why this is important, because the same niggas that complain about the police, the same niggas that talk about how we need different types of police reform. The significance of the Justice Department in this instance is that even when states shirk on their responsibility of holding police accountable for taking the lives of black people, taking the lives of unarmed people, the Justice Department can come in and give them charges based on civil rights violations, so they can still be held accountable from the Justice Department. And in places like Louisville, and in places like where George Floyd was killed, those police departments entered into agreements with the Justice Department to allow for federal oversight and to help revamp and redo the cultures that exist in those police departments. That's what the Justice Department Civil Rights Division was specifically working to combat all type of police corruption and all that other type of shit. And the Trump administration said, put a pin in all of that. Put a pin in all of that. The Justice Department has suspended its... Toya, do you hear when I say it out loud? This is how when we look back in history, like when we look back in history and all them times where it was like, damn, when the people was doing that, like what did the people do? When Hitler was rounding up Jews, what did the regular Germans do? What did they? Go ahead, Toya.
No, I'm perplexed, and this is where I I I look to some of our argumentative and academic upbringing, and think about the fact that I'm so taken aback by the stripping of these institutions, of these pillars of access, of rights, of protections, and I'm astonished, and I shouldn't be. So I'm, use this term a lot. Like, I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance because so much of me wants something to happen. So much of me wants a reaction, a response, a hero, a shifting of the paradigm. So much of me. I don't know if y'all have ever seen Designated Survivor. It's a great show. It's on uh, Netflix. A couple seasons of it. Go check it out. But it's about an entire cabinet of people perishing, and by people I mean like a cabinet, like the president on down. They had one big meeting. It's kind of like some White House is falling, like, you know what I'm saying, type shit. Like some what is the name of that movie? White House Down, whatever. One of those type movies. But like, yeah, White House is under attack. Bomb goes off, and everybody loses their life, and the next person in succession is like the Secretary of Housing or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
Kiefer Sutherland. I think that nigga's a Trump supporter though. Fuck that nigga. I don't know. Kiefer Sutherland, I don't know. He may be a Trump supporter, maybe not. I think he is.
Well, the character was a Democrat with some good ideas. So what I'll say is this, without saying it. I be wishing for a scenario where somebody way down the line who's not nearly competent enough, that don't got the backbone, who ain't really like, let them do it, please. Like, But then let me conclude my thought, and then I come back and I realize that I know the system ain't worth shit. Not like, it's just there are too many things I understand and know about it. And the thing about necropolitics, right, and the intersection between necropolitics, necro meaning death, right, the politics of death, how death is systemically and structurally perpetuated through governmental regimes of power, how death is literally charted out and plotted out by people with power and shit like that, a whole another theoretical discussion. But when I think about the intersection between necropolitics and Afro-pessimism, it makes complete sense to me, because the incalculable, unquantifiable, gratuitous violence that is perpetuated on bodies that are Black is then able to be used as a blueprint to replicate across peoples in general, in order to magnify, to leverage, to demonstrate, to exert power. And so the violence and perpetual death and gratuitous death we've seen on Black folks is now being spread around a little bit more equally. The dividing lines have come in. We see the roles of class in a lot of these same systems and structures and the way that they work in their appendages. And we're here just to kind of witness in real time and take real account and have real testimony to the way that power moves and flows through societies and people. Yeah. And it's disheartening because I already knew about these things.
I mean, and that was some eloquent shit. But look, I'm on some vindictive shit. These niggas tried to tell us that Donald Trump wasn't racist and gave a fuck about Black people. First thing this nigga do when he get in office. That's what I'm saying, bro. Y'all niggas was and look, Toya, when niggas was talking about, oh, y'all can't fearmonger me and the fucking with Donald Trump, because fearmonger my motherfucking ass. He did it. Y'all niggas was wrong. Y'all had no idea what y'all was talking about. That nigga, all this shit that nigga said, this is the type of shit Donald Trump will do. Make it easier to discriminate. Make it easier, you know what I'm saying, for white nationalists and for people to power to maintain power while keeping it away from other people. And that's exactly what the fuck is happening. That's exactly what's happening. All this shit niggas said that y'all just fear mongering. Y'all gotta worry about that shit. It's happening right now. This isn't something that should be taken lightly. The Justice Department has suspended its Civil Rights Division. All of the civil rights stuff that the Justice Department is working on, they are stopping and not taking on anything else.
So the next time somebody who look like us, something bad happens to them, we know it's foul play. We know specifically on the hands of the law it's foul play. Usually it's like, oh, y'all not gonna do nothing. The Justice Department to come in and intervene, be like, oh, we see that, we understand that, we feel like there is action that could have been taken, that could have been, we got it. We gonna take it up. No more.
No more.
Give a shit. So
No
then
more.
we have to start to ask questions about, we already were teetering away from the effectiveness of marches and protests and things like that. The police can do what they want to with no constraint because broke the relationships that we have, the agreements we have with the police departments. We was talking about that a second ago. So you get your ass out there in that street and start protesting, hollering, screaming if you want to. Who gonna hear you? Who gonna come to our rescue? I don't know. You know who gonna come to our rescue? Plug. And then I'm looking at the time, and I do have to kind of move and shake. But you know who is gonna come to our rescue? Can I tell you?
Who?
The only corporation that I've seen stand up for the right side of DEI and say we are not loosening our pursuit of DEI initiatives, and that's Costco. So
you know who else? Oddly enough, Chase. They just came out. It was a couple of really big banks that just came out and said that they're sticking to the commitment today for the even going against what Trump and them all of them is trying to push. Like Costco, Chase. It's some other people that came out recently that I've been kind of surprised to hear about. For sure.
And I'm grateful for them, but I just hope that they can help us when we in the middle of the streets crying literal bloody murder.
Yeah.
Because there is no Department of Justice to do so. I say all this to say we tip our hats to and want to continue to, support corporations and banks and institutions that do right. But what do we do when the little institutions that are supposed to define what doing right looks like just fail to exist, cease to exist? So I don't know. Christopher said Apple stood by DEI. Okay, I feel
Apple did too. Apple
my terribly, I feel guilty about the way that it's made, but at least I know the right people are doing that. I'm being tongue in cheek. I really do. Shout out to Apple.
But to close this on out, man, I think that we have to recognize a few things. We have to recognize that niggas that was trying to sell us on Donald Trump fucking lied. And Donald Trump didn't give us a month into his fucking presidency to prove it. He didn't give us a month. He's showing us what he gives a fuck about. And removing policies that prevented or worked against discrimination of people that look like us was his first fucking agenda. In his first 2 days, they be like first 100 days, nigga, first 2 days, this nigga said, fuck civil rights.
Let me show y'all something.
Said fuck civil rights, and here we are. And so that's why, I'm on a tear, bro. I'm looking for every opportunity I can to. All of this. I'm not allowing none of this to be normalized. I mean, we ain't got no super big channel. I ain't in control of a whole fucking lot. But at the end of the day, the piece of the few of y'all that fuck with us, I'm gonna make sure we all equipped with the tools we're able to push back against the normalization of dismantling fucking civil rights in 2025. Because I guess that's now what it is, that the kind of the mantle that we gotta take up. Since it's like, fuck it, niggas is like that. Y'all want to play the game on hard. Fuck it, let's play the game on hard. So, with that being said, Toya.
Maybe a topic for next time. What do we do in the meantime to protect ourselves, build our safety nets, and strive during these coming years? Things that we'll be contemplating, because that's something I thought about as well, right? The first logical and intuitive idea is to lean inward and to build community, because I really feel like it's about to be a mass exodus off of these social media platforms. TLDR, TikTok is not the same. But there's some shit we're going to talk about, definitely. A couple more comments. Peaches said, get money. And exactly, right? Get deeper in my bag. Like, there's free money out there, and that's the one thing they are letting flow. They're not letting rights, they're not letting justice, but they're trying to let money flow. So I definitely, in the least invested in capitalist way possible, but still got to survive out here in a world where they're making it more and more difficult to do that. I'm staying focused on the bag. You feel me? Speaking of higher definition, leadership and empowerment coaching, individuals, small groups, corporations, organizations, government, agencies. I talk about leadership with all of them. I would love to elevate your approach to meeting your goals, dreams, and aspirations. Let me talk about what leadership can do for you. Speaking of getting to that bag. Kristen said, pay attention to the FCC part of the book. The author was tapped to the head of the FCC, right? So making sure we pay attention to a lot of the information that's flowing. When you say pay attention to the FCC book. What we talking about, plug? You get the pay attention to the FCC part of the book. The author was tapping to the head of the FCC part. Which book?
Probably the Project 2025 joint.
Yeah, which let us not forget. I've been seeing a little checklist of how many parts of Project 2025 we've already kind of actualized, and that mug is looking kind of scary. Tyler said get a passport. Definitely, I'm about to renew mine. It expires in May. It costs $130 to run it back and bring it up to date. And it's already one in my cart. I just ain't pushed purchase yet. Emmanuel said, great show. I'll be in my bunker until next time. Save some room for me. Okay, yes. Kristen clarified in
Yeah.
Project 2025. It's right there written in bold ink, and I executing that thing to a T. We're so grateful for everybody who slid in here for the first time, for everybody who don't really talk or say too much. They just listen but decide to jump in on the keyboard. We love everybody who's listening to this show post recording. Thank you all so much for the love that y'all show. Now more than ever, until they censor us and say we can't talk our shit, we got to come together week to week and really be having our heads. I'm trying to keep my head out the sand. Every time I see and hear his voice, see a new policy, see a new something, I read it as fast as I can and just scroll away because it's so bad for my mental health. But I realize I can't just stick my head in the sand. You can't stick your head in the sand. We can't do that. We got to at least know enough to see the play, to organize, to stay knowledgeable, to share information. So y'all keep bringing y'all's wisdom to us. We're going to keep paying attention and bring things that are of value to you. And we're going to figure how we got to do it.
All right. With that being said, we out. It's the Chop Up. We see y'all next time. Peace.
Love y'all. Peace.
All right, it's a war outside of my door right now. I gotta. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I gotta go to.
Okay,
I don't know
bye-bye.
if you. I don't know if you can hear them yet.